And hi everyone, and happy Easter. Hope you're having a great time with meditation and attending different wisdom sharing sessions by different masters and utilizing this beautiful time. And today we have with us Master Shravya. I would like to give a brief introduction about Shravya. So she's an IT professional and she has 13 years of meditation experiences. And she's a great third eye master, and she can connect with different masters physically also. She can see different master through her physical eyes. So she's gifted with this beautiful gift, and she has an in-depth meditation experiences. So we are so happy to have Shravya with us today. Hi Shravya.
Hi, Sri Lakshmi. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Yeah. Yes, Shravya.
Okay, so friends, I'll take over the session. So as Sri Lakshmi has introduced me already, but let me reintroduce myself once again. My name is Shravya. I have 13 years of Anapanasati meditation experience, and I was requesting Sri Lakshmi from a very long time to give me one more slot so that I can share my wisdom with you people. And somehow she, in the busy schedules of right now of the lockdown, she uh, has managed to give me a slot. So first of all, I'm very thankful to you, Sri Lakshmi. Now, today, friends, so before I proceed, I would like to know if I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, Shravya.
Okay, thank you. So today's session will be on this topic called as Man and His Bodies. So this is the book which I was reading a month ago, and this book is called as Man and His Bodies, written by Annie Besant. So never before I read this book. This book was almost there with me from past 10 years. So, but whenever I heard about the concept of the bodies, I was really, I was really like confused. What are these bodies and what are all these things about? So, as much as I could ignore it, I did ignore it. And just give me a minute. Yeah, so as much as I could ignore it, I did ignore because it was something which beyond the understanding of my capability. Uh, Recently, when I some a strong pull came in me to read this book, and then when I started reading this book first only in one day I actually completed this book because I was anyway not understanding many things, many points of the book. So I thought, okay, let me complete the book and let me understand what is the big picture of the book. So last time when we had curfew here, Janata curfew, so on that Sunday I started that book and I completed it. But again, later I thought I did not read it properly. And again when I started reading it for the second time, it's actually some 160 pages book. Each page I was almost taking 1 day to 2 days. So it has got so much of information in it. So if at all you people get an opportunity to read the book or you have that book in your bookshelf, definitely read it because it has got a vast knowledge on the man and his bodies. So after I read this book, I could say I got some 0.01% information about really man has the seven bodies and what are those bodies, and actually why does the man need all the seven bodies. So let's go through some points of the book which and including my wisdom or my visions which I experienced during reading this book. So why first of all I chose this topic is I read many books, whatever generally whatever Patriji recommends, and even after that, whatever books are there in the bucket list, I read. I always read books, more and more books. But this book, I really felt like giving the information to others, sharing a session on this, like giving my wisdom session on this, because everybody must know that there are seven bodies, and everybody must know that all bodies, whoever is whoever has that passion, they must experience all those 7 bodies. It's very important because once you experience the 7 bodies, your life will no longer be the same as it was before. So apparently, a human being, a man, contains 7 bodies. One is physical body, the next one is etheric body, the third one is astral body, fourth one is called as mind or mental body, fifth one is causal body, and um, causal body, supracausal body, and nirvanic body. Just let me recount it: physical, etheric, astral, mental, causal, supracausal, and nirvanic. So totally there are 7 bodies. Okay. So why do we need all these 7 bodies? Is physical body alone is not sufficient to take care of all the things on this earth? So every planet has a protocol. So if a person wants to take birth in this earth, he has to bring the unit of the 7 bodies with him. He experiences it, he doesn't experience it, it really doesn't matter. But what really matters is he has to bring the 7 bodies with him. Like when you're sending a small kid or your kid to a school, what happens? To the school to which you send him, the school has a protocol. Like he has to come in so and so uniform. He has to bring all these books. He has to follow certain rules. And once you send your kid to the school, you ask your kid to follow all those protocols, right? Or when we go to office, what happens? We just simply don't, as we are in home, we are not the same way in the office. We follow the protocols of the office, the dressing code, the timings, right? What has to be taken to office and what should not be taken to office. So there are certain do's and don'ts that we follow when we adhere ourselves with certain company or certain school. Similarly, when a consciousness has decided that it will, take bodies and it will come here on the earth, okay, then it has to follow the protocol of the 7 bodies. So before it comes to the earth, the consciousness, it goes to each world. For each body, there is a respective world, like how this physical body, we are living on this physical plane of earth. Similarly, for the astral body, there is an astral world. The etheric body has an etheric world. The causal body, supracausal body, nirvanic body, all the bodies respectively they have their own worlds. So the consciousness goes to each world and selects a body. Okay. Just like if suppose we want to go to some function, what we do, we go to a nice shopping mall and we select a nice dress for us so that we can look good, or we can look according to the theme of the party. So similarly, when the consciousness decides that it has to take a body and it has to come on the earth and has to experience certain things, it goes to that respective world and it chooses the body. Okay, I want this body. Then first it goes to nirvanic world, then supracausal world, causal world, mental world, then astral world, etheric world, and finally it chooses a physical body. And with all the 7 systems, it comes here with all the 7 bodies. Now, the next question comes: what kind of body does a consciousness chooses? Now, again, I will relate this to our real-time example. A person who's earning, a good amount of money, like you can say, if suppose some politician is there, some actor, actress is there, or a very filthy rich businessman or businesswoman is there, when they go for shopping, their budget will be really high. They can even buy a dress for themselves for which worth some lakhs. Okay, but when an employee goes, he only looks into the dresses or to the things to buy within according to his budget. Whereas if a middle class man goes, or if a poor man goes, what does they do? They see, okay, this is my budget and only in this budget I have to buy, maybe within hundreds or some thousands, or maybe within a lakh. So similarly, every consciousness, according to its age, its experience, its knowledge and wisdom, okay, it has a point, okay, and it can only select the bodies within that range. Okay, now like a kid is there, he has passed his 8th class, he can only go to 9th class, be it in any school, he cannot directly go to intermediate. Rules will not agree. Similarly, when a person is taking a body, okay, a consciousness is taking a body, it will choose, okay, I have this much knowledge, and only within that range it can choose a body for itself. Okay, so according to that, it chooses the body and it comes, it takes birth here. Okay, now the point is, after it has taken birth, why, first of all, in the Earth's protocol, all the 7 bodies are there? It is there because the consciousness wants to experience life with all these bodies, just not with the single physical body. Supposingly, in your house, if you have a bike, you have a car, you also have a cycle. Okay. In any case, people who use more of a bike and they ignore car, there will be a a pinching somewhere that we bought a car but we are not using it. Somewhere once in a year we are taking it, we are not using it, we should use it more often. Or a person has 3 cars, and definitely one is being very well used, the second one is little used, and third one is ignored. Person feels very bad, or he feels little, why did I make this investment, why did I buy this when I'm not using it, right? It pinches him. But why, the reason he got the car is because he wants to use and he wants to experience in that. Similarly, a person has got the 7 bodies because it wants to experience, the consciousness wants to experience different things with all 7 bodies equally. Okay, but unfortunately, we must say, almost 99% people, they don't experience all the bodies, they only experience physical body and a little of an astral body. Meditators, again, it is a different chapter. When they sit in meditation, when the energies come, they tend to experience even the other bodies as well. Okay, so why we have taken why 7 bodies are required is for experience. Maybe from from Bangalore to Hyderabad, I can go in a train. From all my maybe past all the years, I've only been going in train. Once when I go in aeroplane or in a flight, I feel very thrilled. Okay, this is how it feels like if that distance you just cover it in some time. I may also take car. I may also go by road. I also may book a helicopter. So the journey is same, origin and destination are same, but what is varying is the experience. When you go in car, there is one kind of experience. When you go in train, there is one kind of experience. When you go in a flight, there is one kind of experience. The experience really differs, and for that experience alone, we have taken birth here, but for nothing else. There's something called as a soul bank. Just like how we have a personal bank accounts, money bank, where we tend to deposit all the money and make lots and lots of savings. Similarly, what is important here is there is something called a souls bank for every consciousness. And in this particular souls bank, what happens is all the experiences that we undergo, good, bad, horrific, terrified, peaceful, very blissful, everything, it gets stored there. It gets stored there. And at the end of the lifetime, what really matters is the total number of experiences that we have. Maybe when we look towards a person's life, we may think, oh God, they're undergoing so many hardships. Whereas me on the other side, I'm little bit relaxed. I don't have so many hardships, thank God. But in reality, they are gaining because of the hardships and because of all the experiences. They are gaining more and more and more, khata in their soul's bank than a person who's happily, comfortably living. That's why sometimes Patrici says, if problems are coming, let it come. Invite more problems. Just enjoy all of them, because more and more we get problems, more and more we get the hardships, stronger we become and more experiences goes there. And that is when the consciousness really becomes, satisfied. When we eat, when we are very hungry, and when we eat little food, we are very satisfied because our hunger is gone, and because with the food the hunger is satisfied and we feel very happy. Similarly, when we undergo so many experiences, different experiences, not just with this physical body, but with every body, the consciousness becomes very happy and satisfied. Happiness is not there, satisfaction is there. So it becomes so much satisfied. So just to reconfirm, guys, are you able to hear, and are you following?
Yes, Shravya. Actually, it is a very high subject because it's a theosophical knowledge, but you're making it very simple and clear. Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Okay,
know
that's
explaining about seven bodies is not an easy thing. Yeah, but you're making it very clear. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you. That's a relief. All right. So yeah, so that is the reason why we need all the seven bodies. Why? To experience every body when it is used properly. Okay, when it undergoes different things, when it undergoes different situation, lot of experience comes out, and that is what goes to the consciousness. Okay, supposingly, if a person, just for an example, if he sleeps a lot, doesn't work at all, or he's very lazy, what do we say? Are you're very lazy, lot of tamogun is there, come out of it. Every time, and many times, so we have heard in Bhagavad Gita, come out of tamogun, rajogun, sattvic gun. Why? Let's only talk about tamogun as of now. Why he has to come out of, a person is insisted to come out of tamogun is because only once he's not lazy, and once he steps out of his laziness, that is when he starts working, and that is when he gets a lot of experience, and that is when the consciousness, it becomes satisfied. Similarly, just imagine we have got six more friends with us. Okay, six more friends, that means six more bodies with us. And in case if these bodies are left dormant and it is not activated, which in generally happens for most of the people, for in most of the lifetimes, the other bodies are mostly kept dormant. Okay, if it is dormant, how will the consciousness experience the rest of the six bodies? It's impossible, right? Until and unless we hear something, hear an information about it, how will our drishti go there if we don't hear something? Only when we hear something, our attention goes, okay, there is something called as, six more bodies. And just let me keep things on mute. Just 1 minute, guys. Yeah, sorry. So, until and unless, we don't know that, these things exist, how will our attention go there? So it's very important to know about these kind of subjects, because once, as I told you earlier, once you experience these seven bodies, your life will no more be the same. Before I came into meditation, I did not knew anything about astral travel. I knew that when we sleep, dreams come, and in dreams we experience many things. We see ourselves there, but I didn't knew who was that. But when I came in meditation, they said there's something called as astral traveling. The astral body comes out and it experiences everything and it goes back again. But I knew initially I was struggling. I was waiting. When will my astral body go out? When will it experience all the things? So it really, I was very much fascinated then. Okay. Similarly, just like astral bodies, the other bodies also has to come out. It has to experience whatever has to be experienced, and then it has to go in. Inside means it has to come back. So only when it doesn't work, only when all these works happen, only then, the consciousness will be satisfied. So let's know little more about each body, so that we will, our perception of seeing things will change. Okay, so physical body, we all know this is the physical body with which we do most of our activities, and the man mistakes himself as the consciousness, or he thinks this is everything he is, right? Because he's unable to see the rest of the bodies, the rest of the six bodies. Even the seven bodies are not, we are not the seven bodies, we are not the mind, we are the consciousness, because that is the driving force which is actually making these seven bodies move. If supposingly when the consciousness leaves the body, these seven bodies doesn't work anymore, it dies, the body perishes. So that clearly states that, we are not this bodies, but we are the consciousness. Okay, so Physical body we all know, but just a little more information about it. Physical body is the most dense body out of the 7 bodies. It's not that those 6 bodies are inside us. No, the physical body is the innermost shell. Okay, so it is physical body is the innermost body, and the rest of the 7 bodies are just outside, outside, outside. That is what we called as a aura. Somebody says, I've seen your aura, or I'm able to see some color, I'm able to see something, you know. So the state of all the 7 bodies together is called as an aura. So physical body is the innermost body, and this body is the most dense body, dense among all the rest of the bodies. So this body is made up of solid, liquid, and gas. We all know that. Okay, so it's made up of these 3 things. Now the immediate body, which is next to the physical body, is called as the etheric body. Etheric body is made up of 4 substances. Like how physical body is made up of solid, liquid, and gases, etheric body is made up of ether 1, ether 2, ether 3, and ether 4. In fact, that is the reason, because it is made up of ether, the body name has come as etheric body, the one which is made up of ether. And that is the immediate body which is next to us. I'm sure you would all have had this experience when you look at a person carefully, or when a person is speaking on the stage. Okay, or suddenly when we close our eyes, okay, or suddenly after the light is on, when we see a person or an object, we see a small transparent layer outside us. Now this phone is there. Okay, suddenly I may see a transparent layer outside this, or maybe a person has suddenly come. Okay, I'm talking to him, and suddenly I would have seen a transparent layer outside this. We think, oh, what is this? I'm seeing something, I'm seeing some illusion. Lately when I was giving the same session to some other group of people, one lady said, I had the similar experience, it was my illusion. I just thought, okay, I should never see these kind of illusions. So actually these are not illusions, but this is what is called as etheric body. Etheric body is very closely associated to our physical body. That is the reason why sometimes we are able to see it with our physical senses itself, because etheric body is made up of a different substance, which is ether. 24/7 we don't see it, but during sometimes, during sometimes we suddenly tend to see that outermost layer. That is the etheric body. So now I want to hear from all of you, how many had this experience or did not have this experience? Come on guys, speak up. No, I want to know how many of you had the similar kind of experience, like you saw something and you felt that, okay, some body is there, I'm experiencing some body. At least 1 or 2 of you can speak.
So you can chat or you can reply in the chat also.
Yeah, that's also fine. I just want to understand how many of you had an experience, so that I can take this session in a better way forward. Yes, somebody speak. Tell me, sir.
Hi, Savia. I haven't experienced anything such like this.
Okay.
But the way you were explaining me, it's very nice actually. Good to know all the 7 bodies.
Thank you.
And to be honest with you, actually 2 days back in the group, in some of the group from US, I got a picture of the 7 bodies actually. The frame, 2 to 3 days back, and I can share with you as well. So I can see the different 7 layers. So I was surprised. The same topic you're talking today. So,
Okay.
it's a coincidence actually.
Okay, thank you, sir, for sharing.
Thank you.
So I see in the chats, yeah, few people have pinged that they had this kind of experience, and some people pinged that they did not have. So that's okay. Even you had or you did not have, for people who had, I'm very glad that, once you have an experience, you can correlate to whatever I'm saying much more easily. And to the people who did not have, as I always say, to have even such kind of experiences, we need information. It's not that you people did not have, but maybe most of the time it could have gone ignored. Okay, but now going forward, since you have this information stored in your system, okay, now when you see into some people, or once you come across those things, you'll suddenly identify, yes, this is that. This is that experience. So it's okay. Even, having the experience or not having an experience is fine, but I just wanted to hear from all of you. So this is the etheric body, and etheric body is always very close to the physical body. You can say it is like few feet close. Recently, not recently, lately, like once in, I've seen a photo, okay, where what happened, a person's finger got cut, okay, and immediately using Kirlian photography, they have taken the photograph of the finger, and they saw another finger. Actually, the physical finger was cut, but they saw one finger like this, just a finger like this in the same shape of the finger. So that finger, and it was transparent. So that was nothing but the etheric body. Physical body is cut, but the knife cannot touch the etheric body, right? So, so etheric body takes the exact shape of the physical body, exact shape. So that is the reason why that day in Kirlian photography, when the finger was cut, still there was another body, okay, etheric body, which was of the same shape. So etheric body is also called as the energy body.
I'm going to give one example, Shravi. Is it okay?
Yes, go on.
So if the person dies, immediately the etheric body will stay alive for 14 days, even though the physical body may die. But so many people, we call it sometimes, the people can see and they can refer them as ghosts also, because the etheric body will survive in this plane for 14 days. After 14 days, it will again, what you call, dissolve into the ether, and it will, dissolve.
Yeah, that's a apt example. So yeah, so that was about the etheric body. So the next thing is astral body. Okay, astral body, we all very much know, especially after being pyramid masters. Everyone, we heard about this astral body, we would have had some experiences about it. So astral body, generally for most of the people, when they are in dreams, it gets released. Okay, for meditators, when they do meditation, astral body goes out. Okay, so astral body is again just like another body. When it goes out, what happens? When we are awake, what happens in this physical world? We do a lot of work, or we undergo different experiences with our family, friends, at our workplace, during travel, with our own selves. So we undergo multiple experiences, and collectively this experience goes to the consciousness. Similarly, for the astral body to work, it has to first release from this seven body system. It has to release outside. During meditation or during sleep, what happens when it receives energy? It immediately, it tries to goes out. I remember when I came into meditation, my third eye got opened very quickly, but for me to have an astral body experience, it took some time. It came out. There was a process when it eventually came out, and then I had the astral travel experiences. So uh, for any body to release out, it needs energy. It needs that pure cosmic energy. Without it, it cannot be released. So once it receives the energies, it goes out. Where does it goes to? It goes to the astral planes, and there it does its works. Like how in physical world, if we have our own work, similarly in the astral worlds, astral body has its own work. It's like its home. It goes there and it starts doing all its works. Sometimes the same works which it does, that we see it in our dreams. We see, okay, I was somewhere, I was going there, I was working, I was meeting these people, somebody was giving me some message, or I was giving message to someone else. So there are certain experiences that we get, right? So those all experiences are the astral body experiences. Generally, I'm not saying mostly, but generally, um, their astral body goes, it experiences all those things, and it comes back when we wake up, okay, or maybe when we are out of meditation, that astral body comes back to an enlightened master, to an awakened enlightened master. Even when he's awake, even when he's doing his work, even that time the astral body releases, does its work, and comes back. Always sleep or meditation is not required. I mean, once you reach a state, from then always you don't have to sit or sleep to send the astral body outside. Okay, so basically what does the other bodies need to get released is the pure cosmic energy. Once it receives the energy, it goes out. And once it goes out, it does its works. We may know or we may not know. Okay, it goes out in the astral planes, it does its works. If the connection between, the astral, the other bodies and the physical body is good, connection in the sense, it's not about like the relationship or friendship, it's about, link between all the bodies. If it is really good, okay, then whatever is happening there, that information comes here as it is. But if the the link or the communication between two bodies is not that great, what happens, the all the time when we are in sleep or all the time when we are in meditation, we tend to remember it. The moment we are awake, we forget everything. Just before the session, actually I was feeling very tired, some time before, and I was thinking, how will I deliver the session? But after Patriji's meditation was over, I just sat for half an hour. I never sit for so long after his session is over. I was not able to get up, although I knew the session was there. I was not even waking up. So I was getting so many experiences, yet suddenly I woke up on a jerk, and there were some calls and all the preparation, and I almost, I can say almost 70 to 80%, I forgot what happened there. Maybe if I sit and remember, I may get, but mostly I forgot. So if the person link is like very beautiful, the connections are very beautiful, every data there will be downloaded. If the connections are not that great, then whatever happens there will remain there, but it will not come here to the physical plane, to this brain senses. Everything is connected, that is for sure. But just imagine, supposingly in a house, okay, husband and wife is there, or a family is there, or two friends are there, okay, both friends has different kind of experiences, or both husband and wife have great different experiences. Yet if they don't share it with each other, they stay in the same house but they don't share it with each other, both are at losing in, because maybe all the experiences that the other person has undergone, the information could really enhance the other person. And similarly, what the person B has done, the maybe she could have watched a movie, or she could have worked somewhere, or read a book. But if that knowledge is not transferred to the other person, what happens? Even they lose, and even this person lose. So when there is no sajjan sangatyam between two people, definitely they tend to lose a lot. But at the same time, when they do that sajjan sangatyam, many doors get opened for both of them, right? So it is just not with the other person, but with our own bodies. If we are not in with good contact, what happens, we don't tend to receive information. Even though everybody is undergoing their experiences, the information will not be passed. If the information will not be passed, who's at the losing end? Definitely we are at the losing end, both this body and that body. Because once you get some experience, you see some experience, okay. If suppose that experience you're receiving it as it is, your perception of looking things will totally change, right? For many of most of us, when we sit in meditation or in in sleep, when we receive some messages from our higher, or from Patriji or any other master, and when we are awake and when we remember it, that changes our perception here. So it is important just not to do Sajjan Sangatya with the other person, but also it is important to do Sajjan Sangatya with the other bodies as well, because we receive a lot of information, just not energy, but a lot of information and wisdom as well. Just 1 minute. So having a good link between all the bodies is equally important. Next comes, so astral body, it is made up of 7 different substances. It is not as dense as physical body. It is a little lighter than the physical body. So it 7 substances. Eventually, when a person dies, okay, how this physical body is totally, it's buried, or what they do, there's a cremation process. So what does that do? It perishes the physical body. Similarly, the other bodies also has to perish. Every other body, when the consciousness vacates, Okay, what happens? Every other body has to perish. Like how the physical body is perishing, all the remaining 6 bodies has to perish. But when the body doesn't have enough energy or enough wisdom, it doesn't perishes. Just imagine all the year, all the lifetime, those bodies even did not come out. Those were in dormant stage. It did not get an opportunity to, go and express itself or get some experiences. It is in the dormant stage. So when the body dies, physical body dies, the rest of the bodies goes to its own worlds. Okay, and it doesn't die. Eventually, it has to die, but it doesn't die. It just wanders there in those worlds. Every body has to die. Every body has to perish. And how will that happen? That will only happen when here on this earth we give an opportunity to for all the 7 bodies to come out and express themselves. So just like astral body is there is another body called as mind body, which is the next body. Mind body, or it is also called as mental body. So in this mental body, actually this mental body, there is something called as mind. Inside each body there is actually mind, but inside this mental body there is something called as mind. And actually the right thought should actually come from the mental body to astral, and astral to physical. We always think a lot, right? We always think a lot, some random thoughts, some past future thoughts, but the right thought is the thought which comes from the mental body to the physical body, because it is then giving a higher message to us that okay, do this, which we also sometimes called as an intuition. So mental body produces thoughts and it sends it to the physical body, but physical body should receive it. It should be there in a position to receive it. In the ancient days, okay, mental body was considered as the higher self. It is definitely a higher self, but they thought it is the highest self and nothing is there beyond it. So many times they used to say, know yourself, or you should totally understand who are you. For them, who are you was the mental body, because from there you receive messages, and their research was stopped there. But mental body is a body which every lifetimes it gets physically strong. How many lifetimes that particular consciousness has taken, it becomes physically strong every lifetime. So okay, I've seen a lot of people joined. That's great, that's motivating. So mental body is in mind body, actually a mind exists, and actually that mind also sends us messages. And I have experienced it after reading this book. After I read this book, what happened when I was when I was talking to some people on phone, because it's a lockdown period, or obviously we can only converse in that way. So I was talking to people on phone, or when I was giving sessions, I was actually getting messages from my higher self, what to talk and what not to talk. Before, I did not have any such kind of experience. I only heard from others that they get messages then in their life. I never got any then in their life messages before. But when I was last time when I was delivering a session, I was getting what information I should speak next. And when I was speaking something, I was getting like it's this information is not needed at this time. So I was wondering from where I'm getting all this information, and it was happening from my higher self. So, and how did I receive it? Because the information of the other bodies got revealed to me through this book. I understood that there are 7 bodies. I understood, that every body has a different purpose. It functions differently. So when I got all this information later, for my other bodies, to convey a message, it became very easy for them, because now some doors got opened inside me. So this is all about mind body. Next comes the causal body. Okay, causal body, it apparently carries it gets carried every lifetime. It should not, but it gets carried every lifetime. So like How do I tell you? If suppose now this particular system is there where I'm giving my session, okay, there's a lot of data here stored. Tomorrow when I want to change my system, what will I do? Whatever data is stored in the system, I will carry it to a hard disk, right? And that hard disk I'll connect to my next machine and I will transfer all the data. So that causal body is nothing but the hard disk. So every lifetime we take, we live, we undergo so many experiences all through our five senses. Things get stored in our body, all good, bad, negative, positive, highs, lows, ups, down, everything it gets stored. The moment we vacate our body, all this saram, all this result, it gets transferred to the causal body. And when again next time we take the lifetime, okay, this causal body, it continues. Apparently it should not continue, but for most of the people, for whom this doesn't perish, it continues. So there all the saram, all our gunas is there. Maybe in this lifetime, a person may be very angry, a person may be very restless, a person may be very impatient. On the other side, one more person could be very calm, very with full of patience and full of mindfulness. So how has this difference come? This difference has come because of our old gunas. This is one more beautiful example to tell. When a person has one guna, from where suddenly this guna is coming? It is coming from all his past lives. There is a connection. And just for an example, supposingly I have a lot of anger, okay, or I'm very unhappy, okay, and I always want to be happy. Every moment I strive to, the new change in me, the new transformation in me. I'm sure everybody has some kind of goals which they want to overcome, some kind of behavior or some kind of addictions which they want to overcome, right? What happens every time they want to come out? They get some resistance. They try hard. Where is this resistance coming from? Certain things very quickly we adapt. The moment we hear, we adapt it. Oh, okay, this is the truth, I'll follow, and we adapt. Certain truths, even though we know, the body or the entire system takes time to change. Why is it taking so much of time to change? Because the opposite guna is very strongly stored in one of the bodies, and when we are trying to change it, it is trying to it gets reduced. So that's why it is taking time. But with every hour effort, the guna gets reduced, and one day it will definitely get nullified. So all these things are stored in the causal body. Now coming to supracausal body and nirvanic body, about which even honestly I do not have much experience, nor I do not have much information, but I only know supracausal body is the higher self, where it is called as Mahakarana Shariram, okay, and it is beyond the purpose that we take in our lifetime. That is the only information I have, and honestly, even in this book, I was waiting when these people will reveal about supracausal and nirvanic body, but they did not reveal. They just mentioned in one line that there is two more bodies, which is called as supracausal body and nirvanic body. But yes, I can say that supracausal and nirvanic bodies are the bodies which are more close to the consciousness, because they are subtle bodies. They are much more, they are the bodies which are much more, which is pure in its nature. The more we get pure, the more, strong connection we tend to have with our consciousness. And physical body is the most dense body, or I should say it is from the materialistic world. So the connection will be like a little away. Then comes the rest of the bodies, and the rest of the bodies are much more closer to the consciousness. Like the consciousness is a pure light. Even the nirvanic body, supracausal body, or the rest of the bodies which follows it, it is almost, they are also subtle bodies. They are the light bodies, so they easily connect to the light easily. Whereas it is little difficult, not difficult based on our past lifetimes, that distance is more. But with the regular practice of meditation, with more knowledge, wisdom, sajjan sangatyam, definitely when we increase in our energy or consciousness level, we easily connect to our consciousness. So So this is, all about the 7 bodies. Okay. Now let's cover the very important topic. At least I hope I gave you a little information about all the topics. But if you want to know much more in depth about every body and why it is made, what is its functionalities, read the book Man and His Bodies by Annie Besant. You will definitely gain lot of knowledge. So I'll tell you one of my experience which I underwent. Annie Besant says every body has to come out, every body has to undergo certain experiments so that the experiences will come and it will go to the consciousness. So when there is like each chapter in this book, this book almost has, I think 7 chapters. Yeah, there are 7 chapters here. On each body is one chapter. Okay. So when I was reading physical body, I was able to understand little, because with physical body, we have so much of experiences. When I was reading this chapter called as astral body, I almost completed 50% of the chapter. But whatever she was saying, I was not understanding, honestly, because first of all, the English was little tough. I mean, it was little beyond my, like I was not able to very easily understand what she was saying. Okay. Then I was, and on top of that, that subject was little difficult for me. So I was thinking, what is this lady saying? I'm not able to understand anything. But once I understood Patriji saying, even if you understand the book or you don't understand, doesn't matter. Just read the book and finish it. Because when you read the book, you directly connect to the author's consciousness and they channel all the energies to you. So when I was reading the book, I suddenly got the idea, yeah, I'm reading this book. That means Annie Besant should have connected to me. The moment I saw, she connected to me and those energies were coming towards me. Then I was happy. Okay, chalo, I'm getting, and at least energies, if not, I'm not able to understand the wisdom. I was happy there. After some time, what happened? I got an experience. I was sitting in my, in my garden. I was reading the book, and there suddenly I was reading the book, and suddenly I saw my eyes just went up. Okay, I was just reading, and I saw up. I saw above, and I saw my astral body there. My astral body was there, my physical body was there, and there was a connection between 2 bodies with the silver cord. So what happened? From this physical body, I was seeing my astral body. From the astral body, I was seeing the physical body. And in the moment, I was seeing both the bodies. It was just like this. It was a fraction of second experience. I was like, okay, this is how it feels when your body comes out. My body came out many times, astral body, but I never saw it. It came, it went, but I never saw both the bodies at the same time. When I suddenly saw this experience, I was like, okay, I was already, by that time I was in Maunam. So I was just saw and I was like, okay, fine. I got some experience. I was thankful. And then when I was reading the remaining book, the remaining 50% of the chapter, I was able to understand everything crystal clear. Means the points which I did not understand before, after the experience, I was able to understand. I don't know what that experience really changed in me, but after that experience, the rest of the 50% of the book, not the book, but the chapter on the astral body, I was very easily able to understand. And even the rest of the book, I was able to understand, because at least then I had an experience that, okay, there is something called as out of body experience. And with my physical eyes, when I was reading the book, I saw a vision that my astral body came out. Then I was confident. Okay, first of all, I had to believe whatever she's saying is true. There's no doubt. Definitely, there's no doubt. But with one small experience of mine, I was able to relate to it. So that's what I'm saying, friends. If you have an experience, you'll able to correlate with whatever I am saying more. Even if you don't have experience, that's not at all a problem. At least you have got the information. Today the seed is sown. Tomorrow definitely the plant will come out. What is needed is your attention. And you should have that, that spirit that I have to experience all the 7 bodies. Because if the 7 bodies are not experienced, I mean, if they don't come out and they don't undergo different experiences, finally the consciousness is not satisfied, because It came with the purpose that it will fulfill, it will get information, it will get knowledge, wisdom from all the 7 bodies. And only we are sending her the information and sending the consciousness information only through physical, etheric, and astral. What about the remaining 7 bodies? There are remaining 4 bodies. They're dormant. If you don't give the information there, if you don't, give the necessary adubhavas for which it has taken, finally the mission is accomplished. Unaccomplished. Supposedly, if a mother has 7 kids, will she only take care of 1 kid properly? No. Whatever it is, how much ever the situations are difficult, she'll ensure all 7 kids are at least given the basic necessity, and they have at least been taken care properly. She has given birth to those 7 kids, so she has to take it. Similarly, when we came to the earth, with an agreement we came, and taking care of all the bodies is our responsibility. So it is equally important that the consciousness, just as it is experiencing things from physical body, remaining bodies also it has to experience. Otherwise, the purpose of life is not done. There were many lifetimes before where we had taken birth, but yet we did not give any experience to our consciousness with the remaining bodies, and we left. And the moment the consciousness leaves the body, that is when the moment of death comes, all these bodies which has to perish does not get perished, and it goes to its own worlds, and it wanders there for guidance. It seeks guidance. But when we are in this physical body, we have an opportunity to guide all these bodies with the right, by reading right books, by doing right meditation, and by doing Sajjan Sangatya. So many of our masters, all of our masters, we are doing meditation, reading books, Sajjan Sangatya. But then where is the loophole? Why everybody is not able to experience those 7 bodies? Even I have not experienced all the bodies so far. I am still in the, in the voyage to experience it. But the experience has to happen. If suppose you have had an experience, people may say, or they may argue saying, no, they have come out, maybe I did not see it. That will never happen. If it has come out, you will definitely see it. When your astral body comes out, you see it, right? When you work with this physical body, you know that you're working with your physical body. Similarly, when your astral body comes out, at least for a fraction of a second, you get the information that the astral body, okay, it has come out, it has gone, and something has happened. You get the information. Similarly, if the other bodies have come out, you would have got the information. If you did not get the information, that means it has not come out. You have to give freedom, not to others, but first to yourself. So Patriji always talks about a concept called as non-interference, right? We should not interfere first of all with ourselves, with our own bodies. So first time when I met Patriji, I asked him some question to which he was answering, and suddenly he said, we should not interfere. We should never interfere. I said, okay, sir, I'll never interfere with others. He said, interfering with others is the second affair. Non-interference should be first practiced with our own self. First, you stop interfering with yourself. Naturally, you will not interfere with anyone else. How can you give something to others which you are not practicing by yourself? So how do you not interfere with your bodies? Is every day through meditation, or when we are sleeping, or when we are reading book, or when we are doing Sajjan Sangatya, we tend to get a lot of energy in our body, right? We tend to get a lot of energy in our body, and this energy we waste. Most of the times we waste by thinking unnecessarily. If suppose you do not think, you do not waste your energy in all those unnecessary thinkings, and you store all the energy with you, this energy will be passed on to the rest of the bodies, and it will come out and it will experience whatever it has to experience. You fill a big matka, okay, with complete water, but if it has one hole, all the entire water will go waste because it will drain out. Similarly, because with the with all these sessions, and daily, I'm sure you people are doing a lot of meditation. And definitely you would have a practice of
Shravya, we are unable to hear you.
yeah. Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes, now, yeah. I think
Good.
the power has gone there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You
okay.
were warning me.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So, okay. So my only request to everyone is whatever energy you gain through meditation or through swadhyaya or through sajjan sangatya, okay, ensure you don't waste that energy in unnecessary gossip by unnecessarily thinking. Yesterday, I attended Mr. Ayappa's session in the evening. Okay. He was telling about a very beautiful topic called as thought power. So he said, we may have so many goals in our life, but write one goal which is most important to you. Apart from that, don't think about anything. If you have thoughts, only have thought about it, otherwise, don't have thought about anything else. So then I understood, yeah, if I do not think about anything else but about one thought, how much of energy will I save? And once all this energy is saved, it will transform to the rest of the bodies and then it will come out. It's only not able to come out because it's not getting that energy to come out. So, if at all you want to experience all the seven bodies, it is my sincere request to you, save your energy wherever possible. If it's not required, don't speak. If it's not required, don't even see. If it's not required, don't think. Save all this energy, and this energy will pass on to your remaining bodies and it will come out when it has to come out. So you will not be a single man army, but you will be a single person with a team of seven. How beautiful it will be, right? When you're working, it's not you alone working, but a team of seven working. When you're giving a session, a team of seven is giving a session. When you're cooking, a team of seven is cooking. So whatever you're doing, you're a team, you're no more alone. So the lonely concept won't come because you yourself have seven bodies. You yourself have seven different systems. So friends, this is my only message today, that do not waste your even ounce of energy in wasteful things or wasteful habits or with unnecessary gossip or unnecessary thinking, but save your energy, save the enormous energy that you're getting. And it will be properly channeled where it has to channel. Just allow nature to work through you. So with this note, let's end the session. And if anyone wants to share their experiences or you have any doubts, you can please go ahead.
Friends, you can share your experiences either in the chat or you
I
can.
see instead of chat, please talk directly.
Yeah, because some people in the morning they feel like,
Oh, yes,
yeah.
yes. So guys, how was the session? At least was little informative? Any new points?
Yeah, thank you, Stavia. It's a wonderful session. It's a new topic to most of us, actually understanding the seven bodies. Thank you very, very much again. And for today's session, I understood a little bit. It's a good to understand the seven bodies. The first question to myself is like, I never heard that we have seven bodies. So after then, as I told you, right, so I've seen the picture 2 days back in a group, so I thought like there are seven bodies. So after your session, I understood a little bit of each and every body, how does it works, what it is formed of. So that's a good experience. And I also like the point you mentioned, we are of seven bodies and we are of the team. If I'm doing anything, it's not myself, it's of seven bodies doing that. So it's a really good point. And also the other point I noticed is, don't waste your energy, save your energy. So which is very, very important for us. Generally we generally we use we waste all the energies, here, unnecessary thoughts, unnecessary, wordings and all those things. So, from today onwards,
Yeah.
we should be more careful in using our energy. Thank you very much for your wonderful session.
Thank you, sir. So friends, anyone else who would like to share your experience or would like to give any feedback?
Hello, Shravya.
Hello.
It's Nalini.
Yeah, hi Nalini.
Hi. Nice to hear your talk. It's beautiful. I have two experiences to share with you. One was from a healer that I used to go with, for healing.
Okay.
And that healer was Jewish. I don't know whether he's still alive or not,
Okay.
but he went to Jerusalem, as they do. And the big square where they near the Wailing Wall, they pray. He was standing in the middle of the square, just looking around and all that. And suddenly, he had this out of body experience,
Okay.
and everything was quiet. Although there were thousands of people milling around, this man was in a state of silence. And he said, "What is going on?" Like, he didn't understand at that time. And he's a carpenter. Yeah, he was working with the wood. And later, in the same holiday with his wife, the wife started getting boils on her arms, right? So all these little boils only on her arms, both arms. And she was in such pain that they had to cut short their holiday to come back to England. And she was sitting on the plane. They were both sitting, and he was holding her hand just to, reassure her that everything will be okay. We'll go and see the doctor, etc., etc. And while they were both watching her arm, he was holding one of her hands, and that hand, the boils started disappearing one by one.
Okay.
And only then one boil was left, just as a memory, or I don't know, as an evidence. Yes, they were all there. And again, he didn't understand. But when he went up, he brought down healing with him. He didn't know that he became a healer. But every time his staff, even in his workshop, the staff would come to him and say, "Oh, Mr. Serlin, I've got a headache, or I've got this or that." And he would say, "Oh, okay, come in my cabin. I'll see what I can do." And he would just, float the hand over them, just, that kind of healing. It started. And, I used to go to him quite often then I was quite young, and, you get these aches and pains in your back and whatever. So that was one experience.